And one of the members of the city council, Bill Carlson, he decided he wasn't going to just take those tweets and stand by silently. He decided to fire off some tweets at the mayor, and we all saw a public battle ensue on social media between Bill Carlson, city council member in the city of Tampa, and our mayor, city of Tampa Mayor Jane Castor. Bill Carlson, nice enough to join us this morning on the Pat and Aaron Show. Council member Carlson, thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. You guys are up early in the morning. Appreciate you inviting me.
Oh, yeah, we're up early every morning. That alarm clock goes off at 3:45 in the morning. And so sometimes we'll look when we get up, we'll see. First thing we'll do is check social media. And last week was very interesting to see the back and forth from you and Mayor Castor. So I know you joined Nick Wise the other day, and I listened to that interview. I thought that was a great interview. Just update our listeners, if they missed that, what this battle is right now between you and Mayor Castor.
Well, Mayor Castor has had a problem with city council the whole 8 years she's been on council. And what she and her staff do is they create problems and chaos, and then they turn around and blame city council. And it looked like that was the path we were going down with the Rays vote. What they did on the MOU was they dropped it on us at the last minute, and city council had not been involved in negotiations. And then we were asked to vote yes or no without any input or any ability to talk. Because of Florida sunshine laws, we cannot talk to each other outside of the forum. And so for any of you who watched the meeting where we were talking about it, it was the first time we had a chance to discuss it publicly together. And so some people said, oh, you guys are stupid. Why don't you know the answer to this or that? Well, the basic framework was public, but the document had not been public until just a few days before. And so what you all saw play out was the first time we had a chance to look at it. It appeared that same thing was going to happen with the final document, which is going to be hundreds of pages long. And if they dumped it on us in the last 6 or 7 days before, it almost certainly would have been voted down because the public and council would not have had a chance to review it. So what happened last week was we voted down two really minor things. The mayor essentially pitched a fit on Friday morning while I happened to be meeting with Ken Babby. She sent out a press release, which I thought was inappropriate, saying that city council was trying to kill the deal. And then I responded, and we ended up where we are now. But the good news is that Ken Babby and the Rays and the county have agreed to work with city council directly going forward. So I think we have a much more positive path. There's a much higher likelihood that it will go through.
So that's wonderful to hear, by the way. And you mentioned the meeting that I think a lot of us watched online. I certainly watched it myself. And one of the things you said during that meeting was you were going to vote for it initially to make sure that Hillsborough College got the money from the state, which I totally understand, by the way. But you said in the end, you would not vote for this. What needs to change for that opinion, for that stance to change, where in the end you will vote for this?
So we on city council represent our community. Right now I'm representing South Tampa, but we vote on issues throughout the whole city. And we have constituents who call us and email us and post on Twitter with their views. And obviously there are a lot of Rays fans, but there are many people who aren't Rays fans or people who have concerns from one perspective or another. For example, Drew Park has concerns. West Tampa has concerns. East Tampa has concerns not directly related to the project. South Tampa and much of the city has concerns because the last two administrations underspent on infrastructure and overspent on pet projects like boathouses. So right now, the deferred maintenance on roads is $2 billion, which is more than the entire budget of the city. The legislature is probably about to reduce our property taxes, so we'll have less money. There's no appetite to raise taxes, even though the last mayor did do that, and it still didn't help with infrastructure. And we have record debt because this mayor built up the debt to be 1.5 times our total budget. So with broken roads, broken sidewalks, broken parks throughout the city, flooding happening throughout the city, the public is saying, why are you guys spending on anything other than the basic infrastructure?
So is that the main concern from your constituents, is infrastructure?
Yeah, and people laugh and say, oh, well, you can't compare this to potholes. in the context of a normal year, in a normal situation, that would be fine. But now we've had 15 years of deferred maintenance on all of those things, and we have billions of dollars of unpaid infrastructure. So it's not a small problem. It's not like going through and fixing a few potholes. It's a really serious problem. We have people paying a lot of money in taxes, and we have some of the worst roads in the world.
You mentioned the property tax issue. Now, is the money, the about $80 million that would be coming from the city of Tampa, does the property tax have any like implication in the money that would be coming from you guys?
So the 80 million is the CIT. That's part of the sales tax.
Right. So
And
the
then
property
they're
tax
also
shouldn't have
asking-
anything to do with that, no?
The only difference is that CIT money can be used on infrastructure. An example is it also includes fire trucks. So fire trucks should not be more than 5 years old, but we have many that are 20 years old or near 20 years old. And I'm told there was a situation a few months ago where a fire truck was on its way to rescue somebody, and it broke down and the person passed away. And so we have to really seriously look at the infrastructure, even though most people don't know this, but property taxes are only about 25% of the total budget of the city. And so, yes, when the property taxes go down, it will have an impact. But any source of funds that could be used for things like fire trucks or roads or preventing flooding it needs to be cobbled together, because we have billions of dollars of unpaid infrastructure.
Bill Carlson joining us right now, Tampa City Council member. And Bill, I know you were listening and heard me jokingly say my question to you was going to be, what the hell, Bill? But like going back to the meeting again that I watched, Luis Vieira said that for every dollar the city will spend on this project, they'll receive $3 back from the county. That's the type of thing when I hear, and I listen, I know I don't know as much as you guys, but when I hear that, I think, what the hell, Bill, and the rest of the council that doesn't want to vote for this? Like when I hear you're going to get $3 back for every dollar you invest, is Lewis just wrong? Because otherwise the question is kind of, what the hell, Bill, right?
Well, the numbers that were presented then are different than the numbers are now. And I wouldn't have known that, by the way, if Friday hadn't happened, because the mayor's office had not allowed us to participate. By the way, the mayor also was not.
Why did Lewis? Why would Lewis know that if you didn't?
No, I'm not talking about that. He doesn't know that the number. He may not know that the numbers have changed. I know that Ken Babby has reached out to him this week. He's reached out to all city council members, so they may know the current numbers. But
there still is an ROI, though. There would be an ROI. Do you see the return on the investment from the $80 million?
The return on investment is really by having a team and the esprit de corps and the publicity connected to it, and a little bit of sales tax. The Rays are going to keep the property taxes. When you look at economic impact, if we offered $1.3 billion for a developer fund and said anybody want to build a development, we would get the same or greater economic impact. So the thing that's really different about this project is the stadium itself and keeping the Rays in the region, which I know is important to a lot of people, which is why I'm continuing to try to make sure there's an honest, fair process going forward.
$2 billion. It's certainly, you talk about $2 billion. $80 million compared to the $2 billion for infrastructure seems, and like Pat said it, I'm not a politician. I don't know a ton about this. You know way more, but $80 million seems like nothing compared to the $2 billion infrastructure. I know it's behind, but we always have these problems with infrastructure. I've lived here for 20 plus years, and about 20 years now, and they never go away. There's always something going on, and you don't get an ROI on the infrastructure.
You get a huge ROI on infrastructure because during COVID, we had lots of people come down here who were running companies and starting companies, investing in companies, and some of them have left because they said, yeah, the taxes are lower, but my sidewalks are falling apart, the roads are falling apart, the parks are falling apart, and it's just not worth not having the basic infrastructure. So,
but those problems should have been corrected for years ago, I feel like. Why are the Rays?
Should have, but
yeah.
It's because we had bad leadership for the last 15 years, and before that we had the Great Recession. But because of bad leadership, we have a deficit in all this stuff, and that's the context. It's not just the public is not just picking on the Rays; it's that they're fed up. They don't want more expensive boathouses and overpriced office buildings anymore. But by the way, the city is putting the original proposal was that the city would put in $80 million in CIT funds. The CRA, which is connected to the city, at City Council, sitting as a CRA board, was committed $100 million. And one of the problems with the mayor's office is that she has no legal authority to obligate the CRA board, and she should have let the CRA board negotiate that. She has the authority to negotiate the city, but then city council can approve or deny it, which is why it's important to get input and have city council involved in the process, just like Bonnie Wise is getting the county commission involved in the process. The county commissioners all know exactly what's happening because Bonnie Wise has kept them posted. And by the way, the mayor will say, "Oh yeah, we're giving people briefings," but briefings are one directional. It doesn't have a to and fro. So the total that the city at the MOU was asked for, the city and the CRA was 180 million. That number is higher now, and the overall costs are higher. I don't know exactly what they are, so I'm not going to say them. But I think within the next 2 weeks, the Rays and the county will be pushing them out.
So is it fair to say, regardless of exactly where the numbers are, that most of the investment would come from Hillsborough County? Bill?
Yeah, I was just thinking about conversation I had. I just met yesterday with Ken Babby and Bonnie Wise and one of the county commissioners, and they were going through the model as it is now. I think as they rearrange the numbers, I think it's going to be more equal.
Okay. And then the reason I ask, and Bill Carlson from the Tampa City Council joining us right now, it's just the numbers that we've heard. It's certainly, we've been told and we've heard it is a much greater investment from the county. And when I hear some of the things that I've heard about the project, which not just the ballpark, but the entire project, it will be, if I'm correct in what I've been told, the largest redevelopment project in the history of Hillsborough County. And I just think to myself, when you think about all the stuff that's going to be privately funded around the ballpark and really how vacant that area of the city is, and I think a lot of us want the city to be greater than it is. As great as it is, it can be better. When you see the largest redevelopment in the history of Hillsborough County and that possibility for what sounds like not a massive investment, and again, apparently a pretty good return on investment if Luis Vieira is right, how is this anything but a no-brainer? In what world is the city becoming that much greater and having that many more resources a bad thing? In what world shouldn't that pass?
Well, first of all, for everybody listening, you don't have to convince me. The idea is to convince your neighbors. So many of your neighbors are saying, "Hey,
my neighbors aren't voting.
I don't want it." Well, and maybe not yours, but people who are listening who live in the city of Tampa or live in the county, folks who want the money spent on infrastructure instead. And again, it's not the Rays versus infrastructure; it's any projects like that versus infrastructure. So the better you can help convince your neighbors, the easier it'll be for the elected officials. The elected officials listen to the voices of the committee, and many of them are in favor and many of them are against. And so right now we're trying to navigate that. But the other thing is that Water Street, which the last administration gave $100 million subsidy to, they have spent now around $3 billion. And if you look at the scale of it, then let's say that this project ends up being double that, then proportionately we should put in $200 million if we were going to do that. Many people in the public were against that deal.
And by the way, I live in that area. I live on right next to Water Street in Channelside. It is buzzing. It has transformed the area. I've watched the transformation. I see people coming specifically to Water Street Christmas time when they all the decorations that are up. I mean, it has transformed that area of the city.
Yeah, and these things are going to change. Remember, years ago we had Centro Ybor and we had shops at Channelside, and they were buzzing, and then things changed. Right now we have billions of dollars of money being spent in the Midtown area. About to have billions of dollars spent in the West Shore area. We have billions of dollars being spent in Ybor, and we have Encore spending at least hundreds of millions of dollars. Channel District is spending hundreds of millions of dollars. So there's many projects going on at the same time. Having a new real estate project is great, but it's not the only one right now. As I said, the thing that makes this project unique is keeping baseball in the region.
City Council member Bill Carlson joining us right now. What you mentioned constituents that talking to your neighbors and convincing them. You're never going to get everyone on board. What about your constituents that do want this to go through?
So that's what I just said. There are people that are for it and people that are against it. And so what we're doing is listening to everyone, trying to make sure that that we can ride that line. We know the people that are in favor would like us to vote for it, but keep in mind in any negotiation, there's a to and fro, and so the first time City Council had to discuss the deal was at the MOU hearing that people watched. The next time we might have a chance to discuss it will be when the final document is presented. And if you go buy a car, a house, or whatever, you don't just take the first price. You don't just take the first offer. And if you tell the car dealer that you want a discount, and then they say no, and you say, well, let me think about it, it doesn't mean that you don't want to buy it. It means that you want to try to get a better price. And so it's our job, even if we're in favor of it, it's our job to try to get the best deal for the community possible, which is why it was important for City Council to get involved in the negotiation. By the way, what's going to happen now is that as of Friday, the Rays and the county are allowed to, or on their own, that they decided to go ahead and negotiate with City Council. They're in the process of setting up meetings with City Council members. I'm not allowed to know what the content of that is. But next week, they will be able to put together a list of the concerns that they're hearing from City Council, and then Bonnie Wise is going to update them on the concerns they're hearing from the county commissioners, and then they're going to put those into a list, and I've asked them to make that public, so it'll be transparent, and then they're also going to recommend a list of things that they're recommending changing in the deal to accommodate those requests. And then after that, a week or two later, I've asked them to go ahead and release a draft of the large document because it's hundreds of pages long. The public needs a chance to go through it. And that way, the document will be out in the public at least 2 or 3 weeks or more before it has to come for a vote. That gives it, having that kind of transparency and the community discussions gives it a much better chance of surviving. Otherwise, if the mayor's office had dumped it on us at the last minute, it almost would have been definitely a no, because we would have had no way to edit it or negotiate it.
And that's why we appreciate you coming on and having this conversation with us. City Council member Bill Carlson joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time. We got a few more for you here, just because I don't know when we're going to be able to speak to you next. But I do want to make this distinction here, because we're seeing the back and forth between you, and really it's a local government dispute. But we've seen here as Rays fans, with previous ownership, a contentious relationship with local government. And some people that aren't in the know are just thinking that is the continued narrative with this new ownership. I have gotten to know Ken Babby. I feel differently about Ken Babby and this ownership group. I like them a lot. And you have met with Ken Babby. You've talked about speaking with him. This is not a battle. I want to just be clear, or at least ask you, is this a battle between you and Ken Babby and the Rays, or is this more of a battle between you and Mayor Castor?
Well, it's between City Council and Mayor Castor.
Right,
what's happened is the same group has been in charge of Tampa for 15 years, and the majority of people in the public are tired of it because they think they've mismanaged the city. And the lack of transparency and getting the public involved is part of it. But playing these kind of dirty political tricks is another part of it. We voted down 2 insignificant things that we can change easily, and the Rays knew that. And then the mayor sends out a political kind of hate press release on Friday morning that stirred up all kinds of trouble unnecessarily. And all it did is it made her look bad. I've been speaking to Ken Babby for 6 months. I've met with Patrick Zalewski. I've talked to some of their people. The problem is that in the beginning, all the ideas I had suggested and some county commissioners also had all been rejected. And as best I can tell, my ideas were rejected by the city. Although the city, it turns out, has been AWOL. I mean, now because City Council is involved, City Council has a stake, and the county people are really happy because in any negotiation, you need people to be present at the table, and the mayor was not present, and her chief of staff, who's trained as a hostage negotiator, was not present that often. Now we have like adults at the table who can negotiate. You can Google it. The mayor and her predecessor have had a long war and battle with city councils because they want to control everything. They talk about things like strong government, which doesn't even exist in the charter. We have in the city a balance of power just like you have at the federal and state level. And what we should be doing is collaborating instead of fighting. And her press release was divisive and scared and misled the public. So what's happening now is there's going to be a lot more transparency, and there's a lot the different stages of the negotiation will be made public, so the public can weigh in on it, and then it has a better chance of succeeding.
Bill, I don't know what a lot of people thought of that when they saw it. I can tell you, me personally, and I even said to Aaron, I think I might have said on the show, like, I thought for a long time it felt like Mayor Castor didn't give a damn. And then I heard read those comments and thought, like, oh, wow, right or wrong, it actually seems like she cares about this thing. And at times, listening to the Tampa City Council, I don't get that same feeling that some of you guys care about actually getting this done. Now, I know you keep mentioning Friday. You met with Ken Babby, and it was the first time where you really were able to sit down and hammer out some of the details of this and have that conversation. How much more likely do you think it is that you and some of the other Tampa City Council members may come along and vote on this because of the face-to-face meetings with Ken Babby?
Well, he's been having face-to-face meetings all along, and he's also been having phone calls. I talk to him regularly. The problem is that none of our ideas were getting through, and that's the difference. The mayor says, "Oh, we were always available."
Can I stop you for a
My staff
second,
was
Bill?
always available.
Can I stop you for a second? Because this, I've heard this, and I knew, like, you tweeted about getting together with Ken and having this conversation, and you said, like, he's been having face-to-face all along, but then, like, I watched the Tampa City Council meeting, and the overwhelming thing that I got from a lot of people in that meeting was like, we haven't been involved. They haven't talked to us. And it's like, well, have they talked to you or have they not talked to you? Because I've heard both things from the council.
Well, it could be that because of Sunshine, I don't know exactly everybody's experience. I did ask a month or two ago at City Council, have any of you been involved in the negotiations, not just briefed? And the only one who said he had been involved in the negotiations was Vieira. The rest of them either said they weren't involved or didn't respond. And so like I said, there's a difference between being involved in the negotiations versus being briefed. Telling us that
you're having a face-to-face meeting,
million.
Bill, a face-to-face meeting with Ken Babby sounds pretty involved. Like, are we just like, is it some semantics? Are we using word games? Like,
No.
Come on, dude.
A face-to-face meeting where we suggest ideas, and then he comes back to me and says they were rejected. And I say, did you reject them? No. And I asked the county, did you reject them? No. So that means they went into the black hole of the city, and the mayor's office rejected them. And so now we can City Council can help put things directly into the documents.
There are people in the city of Tampa that I've spoken with, listeners, that are feeling uneasy with everything that's happening right now because all they want is a Rays stadium. All they want is for their team to remain in Tampa, a team they grew up, and we have next generation now, teams that grow up loving this team. And they see that there's a battle between City Council and the mayor of Tampa. There are people, including yourself, on the City Council, that multiple people that are going to be trying to be the next mayor of this city, and they feel uncomfortable by all those things kind of colluding and colliding together. What do you say to those people to ease them that every move that you and Lynn Hurtak and others make are not strictly political moves?
Well, it's the opposite. It's that I think that's why the mayor was making these moves. She's trying to bring her predecessor back, who we're running against. And by the way, I haven't heard him make any public statements on this. And
that is a shot at Buckhorn, I'm assuming?
Yeah, the lobbyists who've made a lot of money off both of them the last 15 years want the same gravy train for the next 8 years. And so they're going to do everything they can to embarrass and humiliate us and claim that we're having fights, like her press release on Friday, which is inappropriate. The city sent out, by the way. But it appeared what she was going to do is, because the people around the table in negotiations have said she hasn't even shown up for the negotiations. So to your question earlier, was she interested? Probably not. From a political point of view, her goal is to get Buckhorn elected again. And so it appeared what she was going to do is dump, and I think most people around the negotiation table believe that that's true now. So she was going to dump a 500-page document on us 7 days out and then dare us to vote yes or no. But because we couldn't ask questions until the actual meeting and we couldn't give any input to it, and we could only say yes or no, probably it was going to go down. Now, because she's out of the way and the crazy politics are out of the way, we have a chance of actually negotiating something.
Good news. That's good news.
It doesn't sound like the crazy politics are out of the way.
I like that you said that we're moving in the right direction. That's what I feel good about. I have one final question.
Take that.
Yeah. Yes.
Think about this. I met with Ken on Friday. I met him briefly again on Wednesday. I've spoken to him several times on the phone. I've spoken to other people around this issue. I've had constituents call me throughout the week. Yesterday, I met with Bonnie Wise, the county administrator, and Ken Babby, and one of the county commissioners. And I presume my other colleagues are doing the same thing. So the whole attitude has changed since Thursday. And the two things that we voted on Thursday, we can easily change. So there's nothing now holding us back.
Do it. Just do it.
The only thing holding us back is if the mayor's office sends nasty press releases again, like they did on Friday.
Oh, that's silly. That's silly, though. You can put that to the side and still do your job.
Forget
like
about the mayor.
We can talk crap about the mayor all we want when the ballpark's built, because we'll love you anyways once it's done.
I'll vote for you. She's on her way out, man.
No, the problem we have on the city side, on the CRA side, we can negotiate, but on the city side, we cannot put a contract on the agenda by ourselves. She has to approve the contract. And so if we negotiate a great contract and we say, yeah, we've got not only 4 votes, but maybe 6 votes for political reasons, she can still veto it. And
then
not
we'll
put it on
rip
the
her.
agenda.
We will destroy her for that, Carlson. And believe me, she will not get away with that. But do not let that. And I know people listening are probably feeling the same way. Don't let your hatred towards Mayor Castor, because let's be honest, you hate her. You hate her. And going back to, she didn't.
I don't like the dirty politics. What she did on Friday was inappropriate.
But
and
she hasn't backed you. She didn't back you in your run for council in 2019. She backed your opponent.
No, she not only backed him, but she raised $1 million to run against me.
There you go. You hate her. You hate her, and that's it. And that's fine.
The next day after the election, I called her and congratulated her on her win. And I told her, look, I forgive you. I don't care about what happened before. All I care about is the city. And then over the next few months, her staff kept getting involved in dirty politics. And after 6 months, I said, I'm not talking to you anymore. They're just not good people to work with. And what we have to do as city council is try to work around them. Usually a year out in any administration, the mayor is a lame duck. And usually city councils get a lot done during that time. And this is a chance where I would encourage everybody, don't berate your city council member. Just send them your heartfelt stories. Now we've had 3 generations at least of people that have grown up at the Trop. People remember my kids have been going to the games with their grandmother, my mom, and they have great memories of that. And many people went with their parents and grandparents, and some of them have passed away. And so those memories are really important to people, and we need to make sure we hang on to them and don't let this the hate-fueled environment or the dirty politics coming from whomever allow this to take us off track, because the most important thing is to make sure that we maintain baseball in our region.
I agree with you. One thing I will tell you is I've seen the back and forth with you and some people on Twitter. I don't know how much you're using Twitter. There are idiots on Twitter, and they're going to spew some crap that you might not like, and they're going to say some negative things. I'm just going to say, do not let them sway you or anger you against this Rays Stadium vote, because there's a lot of really good people that aren't spewing crap on Twitter. They're not saying mean things, and I just want to make sure that you're not being swayed by people that upset you, because there are some bad people on Twitter.
No, and there are also fake accounts. And so what
Correct.
you saw me doing over the weekend is just having fun. I usually don't engage like that, but my people allowed me to do it just for a weekend.
I saw you. You went off, man. You were rolling.
All right. Well,
but I would encourage everybody, if you're gonna email your city council member, send your heartfelt stories. The stories about people with disabilities who feel empowered because of watching games, the people who grew up playing baseball, the people that went with their grandparents or parents who are no longer. Those are the stories that I think really make a difference in this. And we need to stay positive and try to work together collaboratively to get something done.
Just do not send those emails to Charlie Miranda, or he will not get them because he doesn't know how to use a computer yet. Send those handwritten. And
He'll get him on a sticky note. He'll get him on a sticky note.
I know you got. Can you help
Charlie?
him out?
You know Charlie Miranda loves baseball, right?
Yeah, I know Charlie Miranda. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, but he doesn't.
Hard to tell.
Hates computers, and he loves
and
wearing
ballparks.
He loves funeral attire.
A big win though would be to get Charlie Miranda, even if he's going to vote no, to say from the day how much he loves baseball and how important he thinks baseball is.
What a win! Yeah, what a win that would be, Bill.
I
would
so
really
much.
love that win.
No,
just get us
stadium.
a ballpark.
But yeah, that would be that. Okay, I'll take it. Hey, listen, as long as you vote yes, Bill, I'll do whatever you say, buddy.
It's true.
City Council Member Bill Carlson, this is a very long conversation. I know you have a lot of work to do, so really appreciate you taking as much time as you did to have the conversation with us and the listeners.
Hey, thanks. I'll come on anytime. And the reason why I'm doing this, by the way, people ask me, why did you post a picture with Ken Babby? Well, he asked me to take a picture. It was with his camera, and he asked me to post it. So I was not doing that for political reasons. He wanted to show the public, just like you said, he's a very nice guy. He wanted to show the public that there's hope. And then that, then the mayor sent her thing and it evolved. But what we need to do is go back to the hope and collaboration. even though we don't agree on anything, we can on everything. Even though we don't agree on everything, we can still have conversations, right? And the conversations may lead to something. We just need to keep it productive and positive.